Hello everyone! Today, we will learn how to design a flower bed plan through the design of a campus greenhouse flower bed. Before we start the design, let's think about a question. What are the characteristics of a flower bed? Zhang Xue, please answer. First, flower beds can be circular, square, or have a specific geometric shape. Secondly, through the use of flowers in different colors, various patterns can be created. Is there anyone who'd like to add to this? Liu Chibin, please answer. The flowers used in flower beds are seasonal. Right, there are three main characteristics of flower beds. First, they have a distinct geometric shape. Second, they emphasize the beauty of patterns and colors. And third, the main materials used are seasonal flowers. Now that we understand these characteristics, let's proceed with the design of the flower bed plan, focusing on the beauty of patterns and colors. First, let's start with the design of the pattern. When designing flower bed patterns, we must focus on one key point: clarity of hierarchy, simplicity, and aesthetic appeal. For example, this photo shows a large flower bed in Tiananmen Square. It uses yellow flowers as the base color, with surrounding red auspicious patterns as the main theme. The edges are trimmed with green, making the layers very clear, with a distinct primary and secondary focus. It's very beautiful. When designing flower beds, we should avoid drawing overly complex patterns or dividing the area into too many small color blocks within a simple shape. For instance, in these two circular flower beds, the first design uses a single petal to keep the main structure simple and bright, while the second design has too many lines and patterns inside the circle, making the pattern look confusing and somewhat complicated. Such patterns are rarely used in practice. Therefore, as a designer, when creating a flower bed design, it's essential to be clear about what we want to express and what our main focus is. By making thoughtful choices, we can create excellent designs. Based on the key points of our previous pattern design, we will create a design plan for our campus flower bed. As you can see, it uses arcs and line segments to divide a semicircular area into 6 closed regions. These 6 closed regions will be appropriately filled with flowers in the future, completing our pattern. Doesn't this pattern look simple? Yes, but this pattern is widely used. It can be applied in circular flower beds, square flower beds, semicircular flower beds, and fan-shaped flower beds. Because these lines are easy to construct, we often see this type of flower bed in parks and green spaces. After designing the plan pattern for the flower bed, the next step is to design the color scheme. How is the color of the flower bed expressed? That's right. The color of the flower bed is shown through the colors of the flowers and leaves of the plants. So, when designing the color scheme, we must consider plant selection together. When designing the color scheme for a flower bed, in addition to following general color design principles, we should also pay attention to the following points. Firstly, when arranging similar colors in a flower bed, it gives a soft and comfortable feeling. For example, in the first image, we used red, yellow, and orange to create a flower bed. A flower bed with such a color scheme gives a warm and comfortable feeling, conveying a festive atmosphere. Therefore, it is often used in flower beds designed for festive occasions. The second image shows a flower bed composed of blue and white colors. This color scheme gives a very elegant and tranquil feeling. Such a flower bed is perfect for a quiet resting area in a park, making it an excellent color scheme. Secondly, a flower bed with contrasting colors is vibrant and striking, leaving a strong and clear impression. In general, when using contrasting colors in flower beds, we commonly use two configuration schemes. The first is a combination of yellow and purple, and the second is a combination of red and green. When arranging contrasting colors, we typically use one color to outline a pattern and another color to appropriately fill the pattern. This creates a very effective result. Thirdly, white can be used in our flower bed designs not only to complement other flower colors, but also to harmonize with them. In these two images, the addition of white makes the entire design brighter. Fourthly, the color scheme for a flower bed should not be overly complex, as too many colors can make it look cluttered. We usually use 2 to 3 colors. If the combination of these 2 or 3 colors is well done, it will appear bright and comfortable. If not, even the most beautiful flowers can make your flower bed look messy or dull. Based on the color scheme considerations we discussed earlier, we will now apply colors to the pattern we just designed. Take a look at these images. The first image uses orange and red, warm tones, in a similar color scheme for the flower bed. The second image uses yellow and purple, employing contrasting colors to highlight the flower bed. Since the color of the flower bed is ultimately expressed through the colors of the flowers, when selecting plants, we must consider seasonal plants with full shapes, consistent blooming periods, and uniform heights. With this, our color design is complete. After completing the design of the pattern and color scheme, we need to number the design. The numbering should follow this principle. Number from the inside out using Arabic numerals. This numbering must correspond to the numbers in our plant and seedling table. Now, based on the points I just explained, I'd like you all to practice designing a flower bed for the greenhouse. You've all completed the flower bed plan design, so I will now review and explain 3 assignments. The first design uses a pattern with gradually changing arcs, resulting in a relatively simple look. However, I have a suggestion for everyone. In terms of color, it uses 3 types of plant materials. 1, 2, 3. I suggest changing it to a 1-2-1-2 pattern to create more rhythm and harmony. The second design uses a paddle shape. In this case, I feel that the 2 inner arcs could be reduced by 1, allowing the petal area to be enlarged and the surrounding border of plant materials to be minimized. This way, the petal shape will stand out more prominently. The third design is more complex than the first 2, but its expression is somewhat unclear. For example, the white area in the middle. What is it supposed to represent? Is it a structure or flowers? If it is white flowers, it needs to be labeled. However, if it's the same color of white flowers, there's no need to subdivide the space inside it. Therefore, I suggest that this student remove the unclear white section and enlarge the main pattern to make it more prominent. This will result in a better overall effect. Now, let's summarize what we learned today. The pattern of a flower bed should be simple and have a clear primary and secondary focus. The color scheme of a flower bed should not be too complex. 2 to 3 colors are ideal. When designing the color scheme for a flower bed, plant selection should be considered together. Choose seasonal flowers with consistent blooming periods. When numbering plants, proceed from the inside out in sequence. Today, we learned how to design a flower bed plan. For homework, consider the following 2 questions. What is the process of designing a flower bed plan? How can we use pattern and color design to express the theme of a flower bed? Additionally, you can consolidate what you've learned today by designing a circular flower bed in the campus square. Of course, a good flower bed design requires you to observe, accumulate, and practice frequently.